Hello, galactic travelers. Welcome aboard on our amazing starship of creativity, where today I will show you how to create a fan art, an artwork, a masterpiece from any world that you love. For example, Star Wars, like in this case. Today, I came to you with an artwork, concept art maybe even, of a scene that includes in the main role Clone Trooper. Everyone knows that face perfectly. Yeah, it's quite iconic, I would say, although it's not this kind of Clone Trooper. It will be Clone Trooper from the first phase. Yes. Oh, and don't you think it's a little, like, empty here? Let's quickly fix that. Yeah, much, much better. Now we can start our journey. So, put on your helmets, fasten your seatbelts, and let's kick off on our galactic adventure through creativity. From sketching to details, I guide you through my painting process of the entire fan art so that you can create your own piece of art that looks like it's straight out of the movie. I hope I'll help you somehow. Before I start, I want to say at the beginning that it doesn't matter if you're not a drawing master just yet. Today isn't about perfection, but creativity and, most importantly, having fun, from which we might just pick up some knowledge along the way. Don't be the bother if some things don't look as good at the first shot as you may wish. As the classic says, trust the process. When we begin to draw, it's worth thinking about what we want to depict on the picture. Inspirations help with it a lot. We can draw from real life, from books, from internet, or in this case, from movies. As you may know, or may not know, every art piece usually starts with a sketch. However, before I got to that point, I reflected on what I would actually like to achieve in this drawing, what I wanted to practice, what new things I wanted to learn. And I definitely decided, before I started my sketches, that I would like to focus on composition, colors, and practicing light. Knowing these three things, I moved to creating sketches. As you can see, I chose the third one simply because I liked it most. I wanted to present Clone Trooper in the environment that he was originally created for. As I was drawing him, I used these small 3D miniatures that we have in our studio. If you have a chance, while drawing, using any references, for example, like these little figures, or pictures, or whatever you have, it is very helpful to use it. I actually encourage you to use it. It's always nice while you draw to have something actual, like real in your hand, and to look at the details, looking at how it is built, you can rotate it in your hands. I think it is really helpful and it's really nice, especially for the beginners, where honestly, the more references you have, the better. So, as you can see, for our Clone Trooper, I chose a battle setting. I thought it will suit him best, and that's why I made a few decisions. Because of that, I wanted the composition definitely to be dynamic. And to achieve that, I tilted the horizon line slightly. It is very common technique to achieve a little more dynamic effect in your drawing that is very often used by concept artists, for example. It is quite simple, but it immediately makes your drawing a little more interesting. The composition itself I put in golden ratio, but I must admit it was purely by feel and by accident, and it happens sometimes. And what I would like to tell you is that especially for the beginners that are a little too stressed that they will make some mistakes. Not everything in your creative process has to be meticulously planned. You know, sometimes it is worth allowing yourself a bit of spontaneity. Oh my god. Spontaneity. Sometimes it is worth allowing yourself a bit of spontaneity. It creates new situations, new problems that you need to solve, and it means that you will only learn more from that. So don't be afraid to sometimes let go and just draw something from how you feel, like from your head. It will only help you in your progress. Yeah, and here's another classic example. Do you know Bob Ross?
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
After a series of, in my opinion, quite fortunate decisions, I transferred my sketch to the proper file and I began working on it, slowly building the space and surroundings. I started adding some details here and there. For example, I began from drawing the ATST. Which I was later informed by my friend is from another different Star Wars phase than my clone, so yeah, that was one of the happy mistakes I've made, and I needed to fix that later. So during my work I focused on the details, and then I was zooming out to see how the whole artwork looked from the distance. So I wanted to check if those elements were fitting together, if they were not looking like they were paste, if you know what I mean, that everything was looking natural, how it should be. And I recommend to you zooming often when you draw. I know that you are like eager to focus and on the detail and drawing scribbling little things, but trust me, your drawing will look much better if you will look at it from the perspective and from the distance. Then you can see if everything is in the same style, if the lighting is okay. It is also a technique that really helps, and it is worth learning that at the beginning. Definitely when we draw a character, we are aiming to make it believable in the space we are placing it in. So it is worth to pay attention to things like proportions, scale, perspective, and think about the relation of the character to the objects that are surrounding it. I definitely wanted to play around with perspective in this drawing, trying to capture the scale of the battlefield as much as I could. In the background, I wanted to include one of those big ships from which smaller starfighters would fly out. When you draw a scene like it is worth to think about what is actually happening in it, how the elements you are adding in are interacting with each other. Yeah, as you can see, I make a lot of corrections and changes while drawing. I often cut out, move, stretch things, or transform them, and it is absolutely okay to do that while drawing, especially when you are a digital artist and you are using programs that are allowing you to do that. Then do it, make those mistakes and fix them and experiment a little with them. Making mistakes is part of the process and we just need to embrace it. I know it is hard sometimes, it is still hard for me definitely, but we've all been there. Yeah, speaking of mistakes, at this point I realized that I had completely mixed up all the Star Wars phases. Faced with the prospect of changing everything I had drawn so far, I decided that the only thing that was missing from this mix-up was a medieval dragon, so here it is, as you can see, a little manifestation of my frustrations. Yeah, as you can see, we all experience them while drawing, so it is normal. It is just inevitable part of creative process. Yeah, so instead of Star Destroyer. It should be Venator from the Republic era, the galactic one, you know. So I quickly fixed that. Here I erased some things, stretched others, added a few bits, draw a little bit, and voila, we have Venator. So yeah, the same thing I needed to do with ATST. I needed to change it into ATRT. Yes, I said it correctly. And it is basically the same machine, but it's just open, and the difference between ATST and ATRT is that it is open and you can see actually the pilot in it. Yeah, and it is from the earlier phase, from which was our clone trooper. So, after my personal battles with Star Wars lore, I decided to make our battlefield a little more battle-like, at least less deserted. So I started adding the opponents. Yeah, I began with B1 battle droid, then I drew a few of his friends. Of course, our clone trooper couldn't be alone either, so I added a few more clones later as well. Well, and while doing that, the thing I learned was that drawing a battle scene is definitely an easy thing to do. And if I wanted to create a real galactic war, then I would probably spend another week drawing it, and it would be in like light years, probably. So, yeah. I wanted to make a quick shout out to Matejko. Like, this guy knew how to draw battles, definitely. And he did it brilliantly. Polish reference. Yeah, so after many fixes, after our personal battles, frustration and all that stuff, after finishing Grayscale, it is finally everyone's favorite time. It's coloring time. I should probably explain from the start why I drew everything in grayscale from the beginning. It is often used method by many concept artists that allows them to focus more on the composition, lighting, making sure that everything is okay before we start to add color and things get a little more complicated. I decided to use this method today. It was also something new for me to try. I wanted to try it because I never did before, and I can definitely recommend that. It definitely made my work a lot easier. So for those who may not know how color is applied here, let me explain. In Procreate, when you have a layer selected, you have like this little letter N on the left side of your layer, and you can click on it, and then you have full list of filters that you can choose from, and you just paint over it, make clipping mask, and you can add any effect that you desire. I personally used a lot of soft light and overlay, so if some of you would like to recreate maybe that effect, and like you look at this list and see all those little weird names and you have no idea what to choose from, then yeah, you can try soft light and overlay. I think it would work nicely. The same filters are available in basically any other drawing program. Also in Photoshop, it is usually placed somewhere around the layer section, usually above it. So yeah, I definitely recommend that if you want to add color into your drawing and not mess everything up. At the end, I worked a little on the grass, on the sky, adding a little details, fixing some things, making them a little more sharp, you know, adding this little bit of spice into drawing. And voila, we have everything finished. I hope you like this artwork and that you learned something that I could help you somehow, and that most importantly, you had a really good time. So I encourage you to leave a subscription and hit the bell button to see more of our videos. And if you had a good time, feel free to leave a comment down below and share what you would like to see in the next videos. See you next time, Galactic Travelers, and may the Force be with you. And if you love Star Wars, I invite you to explore our studio stores at RPGfigures.com. We create unique, custom-designed miniatures for fantasy, D&D, and sci-fi fans, including Star Wars. Every design is crafted with passion and made exclusively by us. And here's something special for our fellow dreamers. Use the code PAINTING20 for 20% off your order.